everyone. It is Wednesday, the 31st of January. Hopefully you see me. All right, let me get rid of my gum. That is so unprofessional. And we do have a Saki present. I'm sure I'm going to get some questions. Where'd she go? There she is. Saki, hey, look up and say hi. There she is. All right, so if you have any questions for Saki, throw them in the chat. I'm sure she'd be happy to help you with all of your weight loss questions or doggy questions, whichever you prefer. All right, so good morning or good afternoon. Why do I say things like that? It's 6 o'clock at night on the last day of January. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to Facebook Live. Today we are going to talk about how to jumpstart your weight loss in the new year. So this is a topic that I think is probably pretty appropriate considering the fact that I've given you a lot of time to play around in January before I started to bug you. Hello, Sherry. How are you? Nice to see you on board. Hopefully I said hello to Cindy and Elena. Hi, you guys. So I'll give everybody a little chance to hop on. But what we're going to do today is really just talk about getting things moving in the new year and starting a weight loss plan. And obviously you can watch all this later if you don't catch it live. It's always fun live because then we can have some questions and answers. But even if you catch us later and log on later, you can ask questions and I'll go back and answer them. So just keep that in mind. All right. So let's just start. And they'll join when they want to join. How about that? All right. So today we're going to talk about how to jumpstart your weight loss in 2024. Now, I hope you guys feel this way, but I feel like 2024 is going to be just an amazing year. I feel like new year, new you. I feel like we all get a divine reset here and we can just kind of hit that reset button and start over. Forget about what happened last year. Forget about even January. We're going to focus on the months ahead and really jumpstart our weight loss and get going on a wonderful weight loss plan. So I think we want to just sort of, first of all, I'll just tell you guys, I'm just going to talk. I mean, one of the themes that I saw this year was just people got into Christmas cookies like nobody's business. I kept hearing that. Usually I'll hear like, oh, alcohol, my aunt made this pie, whatever, or, we cooked this turkey and we just put all the stuff on it, But this year it was all about Christmas cookies. So if you have any left in your house, first of all, the expiration for Christmas cookies is the same as other cookies. I don't know why people think you can just have them around forever because of Christmas cookies. Get them out of the house. And if you don't get them out of the house, throw them in the freezer and then they'll be so nasty by the time you open them up, you're not going to want them anyhow. So that is what we need to do. So, something that I've seen in my office is people are just procrastinating to start this year, They know that they want to lose weight. They know that it's something they need to make changes for, but actually taking that step, and it might have something to do with Marie. Hello there. Yes, you're welcome. So it might have something to do with just, here in upstate New York, it has not been good weather. It's been dark. It has been, everything you can imagine, sleet, snow, rain, more snow, hail. So I think the weather's gotten to people too. But there's nothing more important than jump-starting your weight loss so you can get a level of control back to your life. And then when things start to change, you can get out there and have some fun. And even if you're not someone who likes to go out in the colder weather, you have to learn how to do that. We have some videos coming up on that. Samo, hey Sam, it's so nice that you joined after your hectic day. So, all right, let's get going on this. So if you don't know where to begin, I'm here today to tell you how to stop procrastinating, and I'm here to kick your butt and get you back into, a weight loss journey. So let's get going on that. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat as we go. I want you to just get something so you can write stuff down. I got lots of juicy nuggets coming up. It's going to be very, very helpful for you to use for yourself or pass on to a friend. Grab some paper, use your cell phone, whatever, and let's get ready to do it. I do think it's going to be a great year. Let's get it off to a good start. All right, you agree, Saki? Saki smells. I'm sorry. I really do. I really hope she's not leaving me any treats behind me, but hopefully she'll be okay. Hi, Joyce. How are you? Nice to see you. All right, so first of all, when you're going to start a new plan in 2024, one of the first things you have to do, and Sam can tell you this because she's been with me a long time, but you really got to clean out the house and get all the crap out. Okay, so first things first, get your house ready. Okay, so first of all, set a start date. So if I would say set the start date for tomorrow. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be perfect, but at least just get ready to start something, start changing, even if it's just getting your house in order. Okay, so set a start date, and I would tie that start date to an event, or at least the end date to an event. It always works better if you have some kind of incentive. So are you going on a vacation? Do you have a certain, something that you have in your closet that you really want to fit into? Take it and take it out. Do you have, like for the guys, do you have do you want to just beef up so you look good for summertime? Do you want to just, work on getting rid of the belly so you feel better and have more energy? If the belly fat goes, you're going to have more energy. So all those kind of things. Set a goal, make it realistic. Now, this is really important. Hello there, energetic madre. This is so lovely to have you here. Such a great showing tonight. So don't set unrealistic goals for your weight loss, okay? I have so many people that are just coming in discouraged because they said, I thought I'd be down this much weight by the end of January, and look at me, I'm only down a pound, and be kind to yourself. I am very happy at our office if my patients are losing a half to a pound a week. And I think you should set that as your goal, okay? If you do better than that, awesome. But that is success. It really is. Because the important thing, as I mentioned in a recent video, is you got to change your habits and you got to start feeling better. And it starts with one step. Maybe the step is just watching the Facebook Live today. But the scale isn't everything. The scale is something, but it's not everything. So if you hit a half to a pound a week, that's a good goal, okay? That's what most of our bodies can do. All right? And as far as getting your house in order, first of all, get rid of the junk food. Whatever you have in the house that you is bad, okay? And don't say, oh, my grandchildren like it, or, my skinny son eats that, whatever. Nobody should be eating that crap. Nobody. It's just junk. It's going to make you sick later. It's going to cause obesity later. You can be skinny fat and not know it. Yes, I'm talking about the young men that are walking around as well, too. They have these great metabolisms. They're eating everything around the sun, under the sun, but they're not necessarily eating healthy food. So they're skinny fat. Their protein's low. Their albumin's low. They may look skinny, but they're not healthy. Okay, so get all that junk out of the house. I think I made my point. And let's all try to get healthy together, okay? And the second thing is go through your cabinets, go through the fridge. This is a good time to just clean out all that crap that's left over from the holidays that might be stuck in the back of the fridge or in the cabinets, some crawling around, things that just don't even look like food. Get it all out, clean the kitchen, clean the cabinets, and get ready for a new you, okay? That is really going to make a difference too. The next thing is just, if alcohol is a problem, and for some people it is, just get that out of the house too, give it away, but make sure that you don't have anything that's going to make you vulnerable to not be able to lose weight with a new plan starting in 2024. So you know what your foods are, you know what your triggers are, get them out so that we can get going, okay? And fill your house with healthy things. So we're going to talk about some plans, but once you figure out what you're going to do, planning is everything, especially for certain diets like keto. So make sure you have the good stuff in the house and the bad stuff out. So when you get hungry or you feel like I want to eat something, you're going to grab something good enough. All right, make sense? Hopefully it does, and we will keep going. So another thing I want you to do is dust off your exercise equipment. So if you've got like a treadmill or a bike, even if it's an old fan one, I swear to God, we have some of those in my parents' house and we still use them when we go there. But those are the things that you want to get cleaned up and ready to go. It's something, some exercise is better than nothing, okay? So even if you're just doing a little, it's going to lead to more. And body in motion stays in motion. So get that stuff cleaned up too. All right? Put your goal, whatever it is, whether it's a size or an event or whatever, put it someplace on your fridge, on your bathroom mirror, place where you can see it and you can constantly be reminded of why you're doing this. Because some days are harder than others, especially if you're, not feeling the best, you're getting sick during the, winter cold months and stuff like that. You're going to want to have that goal in front of you to keep you motivated. All right? And let's make sure I got everything on my list. So yeah, I just wrote, I really believe this is a year of new beginnings, and I want you to look at whatever you do this year like a new beginning, okay? Meditate on that thought. It's a new beginning. What's done is done. Reset button, and we're going to start out really fresh with a new beginning. We're going to have so much stuff to support you on social media. So stay in touch with us on social media, both on Facebook and in my Dr. Wendy Cinta site on Instagram too. Okay, now the very last thing as we're getting ready for our clean slate is please don't go out and have a Last Supper. Okay, I see that all the time, and it's usually not just a Last Supper meal, it's a Last Supper week, and before you know it, there's 7 pounds, 8 pounds that now you have to add to that number to get rid of. Okay, make your mind up, get it out of the house. Don't give yourself that, motivation to eat that last meal, because it's just going to make it harder for you to get going anyhow. So no Last Suppers either. All right. Okay, get an amen. That is our setting up. Now let's talk about picking a plan, okay? Any questions so far? You guys in agreement? Yes, I'm with you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Right, energetic madre, don't do it. Don't do that splurge meal. It's going to backfire. And it'll just postpone when you start too, because you're going to feel crappy. Okay. Yeah, Sherry. Good. Let's talk about picking a plan, all right? So, you decided on a date, you've decided on an event, you got everything up, you're motivated, you're excited, and now what we want to do is pick a plan that we're going to follow. So what I've done here is I've laid out my 3 top plans, because on the internet and you're looking at all these wonderful diets, there's at least a million. And every diet is the best diet, and everybody's trying to sell something, and don't be fooled, okay? And a lot of these people don't even know what the heck they're talking about. I'm amazed at some of the stuff that's out there. So use the tried and true ones, and I'm going to go over the 3 top ones that we do, and keep it simple, okay? First thing is, let me just make sure I don't have anything. Yeah, so the diet that works is the diet that you're going to stick to. So whatever you can stick to now is what you're going to do, okay? Anything that you've had previous success with, you're likely to have future success with, as long as you can stick to it. So prepare everything so that you can have future success, and then once you start it, stick to it. And do it as long as you can until, if you start to flatten out, then we switch it up. We can always keep the weight loss going. It's a matter of keeping your motivation up, keeping the weight loss up, and then when the body starts to sort of figure it out, we just switch it up a little bit, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is talk about 3 different scenarios, and everything that I'm going to say is just based on my 17 years of experience. It's not tried and true. I haven't done research on my patients. Well, I have on some, but what I've done is just kind of thrown it all together in my head and chosen 3 different plans, any of which you can follow. And let's talk about each one of them, okay? So it's funny because Cindy asked me earlier, right before this meeting, why did you choose these specific 3? And I said, because everybody can restrict something, but nobody can restrict everything, okay? So whether it's the time you eat, or the carbohydrates you eat, or the calories you eat, everybody can make some changes if they are in the right place and it works for their lifestyle. But it's impossible to do all of them, which is what everybody's trying to do, because there's so much nonsense out there, okay? So the 3 that I've talked about, that I'm going to talk about, are a keto/Atkins, okay? Atkins and keto are essentially the same thing. It's just, put in a prettier package and called keto. And then there's some abstract, guidelines on fat and stuff like that to me are not necessary. It'll work just as well if you just focus on carbohydrates. So we're going to talk about Atkins and keto, okay? And that's a carb restricted plan. We're going to talk about intermittent fasting, which is my personal favorite, and I'll explain to you why. And that intermittent fasting really focuses on, so carb restriction for Atkins, and keto, intermittent fasting is timing restriction, okay? And then the last one we're going to talk about is meal replacements with like a primal type plan, and that is focused on calories, okay? So pick your poison, and away we go. So cut out white sugar. Yes, okay, we're going to get to that, but that is absolutely so. Oh man, we're going to get to that later. Just the different things we do behaviorally. No, I forgot to mention it. We'll talk about exercise and behavioral stuff after this, okay? So, but yes, cut out the sugar. Hi, Kimberly, how are you? Welcome. We're having fun already. We're going to start jump-starting the new year with 2024 being our new year of reset and a clean slate. All right, so keto, intermittent fasting, meal replacements with like a primal plan. So get your pens ready, get your cell phone ready. We're gonna get going on the specifics of this, and these are the nuances. I'm not gonna read you stuff that's on the internet. I'm gonna tell you my experience and why I think some of these plans are better for certain people than others. Okay, keto/Atkins. This is best for people. First of all, it's really hard to do keto if you don't like meat. So if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, don't even bother. It's just so very, very hard to find protein sources that are going to meet your needs for a keto plan, in my experience, okay? So you gotta, first of all, enjoy meat and fish. For me, I like this diet a lot for men because they just, in younger men and younger, even boys. I mean, some of my children can sometimes do a keto plan, which actually is very, very helpful for mental health, both in terms of like ADD and then also for depression and stuff. But anyhow, they tend to like to eat meat, and as long as you have it, cooked the right way, they get full on it, and it feeds their muscles, and they have much more muscle than women do. So I love this plan for men and women who can follow it. And then the other thing about this is it's very, very good for people who are regimented. You have to plan ahead with keto. You have to have the good foods in the house. And if you're someone who doesn't like to be overly restricted on how much food you have, with this plan, you can, really push that protein, and it's going to make you full. The fat's going to make you full, and once you're in ketosis, you're going to feel great. Okay, so a keto plan is really focused on carbohydrate restriction, and when you first start it, you restrict to about 20 grams of net carbs. Net carbs are total carbs minus fiber minus sugar alcohols. Okay, that's your net carbs. And when you first start out, you want to do about 20. So that's tight, right? I mean, that's a really tight plan. You got to be really, really regimented and careful. There's some great books written about this. Any of them. I personally love the old Atkins book because it actually goes into it much deeper than some of the newer ones do. And it's been rewritten by one of my colleagues, Eric. I can't think of his last name, but anyhow, he's a great guy, and it's a great book. And it has recipes in it, and it's wonderful. I think it's called New Atkins Revolution or something like that, but it's an updated version of Atkins. All right, so how does this plan work? When you are carb restricted, it means that you are no longer using glycogen, which is, turns into glucose for an energy source. You're now using fat for energy, and that turns into ketones, and you're in something called ketosis. Once you get into ketosis, you feel amazing. Your inflammation is gone, your energy is up, and you're not hungry, okay? But it's the step of getting there that can be challenging. So we'll talk about the benefits and the cautions of this plan too. Westman, thank you, Sherry. This is like one of my dear friends, and I can't think of his last name. He was involved in leadership in the OMA when I was, and he's just a keto king, keto and Atkins king. Kimberly, I'm doing well. 85 pounds down, 20 to go. Woohoo! Wow, that is awesome. I'm so proud of you, Kimberly. All right, so carb restriction, get into ketosis, 20 grams of net carbs, and you have to learn how to do that. We're not going to get into great detail today, but just to kind of give you the little tidbits with this. Now, benefits, you don't have to calorie count. You get full quickly on these foods. Once you're in ketosis, you feel amazing, okay? And as long as you have the good foods in the house, it's pretty easy to follow. It's something that you just get a regimen with, and when the carbs and sugary stuff is gone, you don't miss it. You just really don't even crave it when you're on it. The cautions I would say is keto flu is real, okay? What it is it's sort of almost like I guess you can think of it like a cleansing. Like your body is just getting rid of all the carbs. When you eat high protein, you start to pull fluid out of the cells, and you get very dehydrated, and your sodium goes down. You get what's called an osmotic diuresis. So you get rid of a lot of the excess inflammation, a lot of the things that were the junk from your lymphatics. It all leaves you, but you've got to drink a lot of water, and you've got to take sodium. Okay, so what I tell people when they start to feel that yuckiness with the keto flu is just do some bouillon. It makes a huge difference, and you can do a couple of those a day until you get into a really good ketosis, and then it gets easier and you don't have that problem. For me, when I do keto, I have such a hard time. I'm a runner, so I have a really hard time getting my exercise going where I want it to be, because you have to get your body keto adapted so that it uses those ketones to fill the body when you work out, because you can't rely on lactic acid in this case for breakdown of glucose. So it's just a different way. Some of our best marathoners are doing some type of low carb plan. So and also people who are, there's one guy who is an Ironman winner who is just pure ketosis and pure keto the whole time. So it can be done, and you can exercise. You just have to be patient with it. All right. Yes, ketosis is amazing. It is. You feel so good. You really do. If you could live that way, you would. Now, here's the downfall to this. As I tell you all the great things. I love fruit. I don't know about you guys, but it is so hard to eat fruit on an Atkins, especially at the beginning, because you only have 20 grams of net carbs, and even though berries and stuff are lower, it's still, you're going to miss it if that is something that's important to you. So that is one thing. A second thing is, certain vegetables too have higher glycemic index, more glucose or carbs in it. And so you have to be very careful just about with everything that you put in your mouth that is not meat and fat, protein and fat. And I think it's really tough if you're craving something, which eventually, you will. You'll be at a party or someplace, or you'll have a glass of wine or something. All of that knocks you out of ketosis. A couple crackers will knock you out of ketosis. So that is the downfall to doing something like an Atkins. But you can just open up the door to like 100 grams of net carbs when you're, in more of a maintenance phase, and then tighten it up when you start to gain. I have many patients who have done great on it. This is their jam, and they always go back to it if they start to gain, and they're really good at it. But the key is preparation. All right, and if any of you guys have anything you want to add to that by your own experience, I'll take it. Thank you, Kimberly. Yes, Julie is the bomb. Julie's our nurse practitioner who has been with me for a while, and she's just smart as anything, and she's so supportive and wonderful. So I'm so glad that you're doing well, Kimberly. All right, that's the Atkins plan. That's ketosis and a keto plan, and that works for a lot of people, okay? And if you want more information on it, we actually have a table that we can send to you and some other links and stuff. So. And there's some stuff on my webpage too, weightlosscny.com. If you look at the blogs, there's blogs on all of these. Okay, so just check that out. All right, next is intermittent fasting. How many of you guys, just put something in the chat if you've done intermittent fasting before and what you think about it. So I love intermittent fasting personally, and this is what I do. I'm not shy in telling you that I have had cancer several times, and so for me, keeping in remission is a very important thing. And so what's so great about intermittent fasting is it causes cells to go through programmed cell death, or apoptosis, which really, really helps people who are in remission from cancer and don't ever want to get it back. So that is my favorite thing about intermittent fasting. But I will tell you, for most people, they can do intermittent fasting if they just are patient and get themselves into, again, ketosis slowly, and don't go straight into like a 16-8 pattern where you only eat for 8 hours, because your body's not ready and you'll fail. You got to ease into it. So we'll talk about that. So Lena's done it, Sherry's done it, Joyce has done it. Yeah, a lot of, it's, and you can, here's the thing about intermittent fasting. You're basically eating for a period of time. So you can do this with any plan. You can add intermittent fasting to any of the plans we're talking to, and it even makes that plan better. So I love it because it's all about timing. So this is best for people who are breakfast skippers anyhow. So if I'm seeing a new patient and I see that they're not eating breakfast, that's just not what they like to do, I say, do you think you can, so when do you start eating? They'll give me a time. And I'll say, do you think, say they start eating at 12, do you think you could stop eating at 8? You really want an 8-hour window in there of eating, and then 16-hour fasting, including sleep, by the way. Okay? Sleep is part of the fasting time, so it's not as bad as you think. So if they tell me they could, then they're a perfect person to do intermittent fasting because they're already not eating breakfast. So It's good for people like that. It is good for, it's so good for bingers. And here's why. You have a time that you have to end. And most of us, when we're being naughty, we do it at nighttime when things are kind of settling down. It's getting dark. We're relaxing for the evening, unless we're night shift workers. But the rest of us, it's a great time because it's a great time to be bad. And when you're on intermittent fasting, it forces you, to be very tight with the time and stop at a certain time. And once you get used to stopping at that time, it's pretty easy to follow and continue. Cindy says, I like the feeling of emptiness after not eating for a long time, but sometimes I can't make the schedule work with my schedule, the timing work with my schedule. That is so true. So that happens to me. And what you can do, if say you have like an event at night and you have to go out to dinner and it's going to be later. So that day you can just start a little bit later and then push your 8-hour window later too, okay? Or if you have something, you have to go to a big breakfast in the morning, then just end earlier, okay? But the key is just having 16-8, there's different versions of it, but 16-8 is the most common, where you fast for 16 and eat for 8. And that is, that just means you just have to plan around that 8-hour eating time. Okay, so it's all based on timing, whereas, low carb is based on carbs. And it basically uses fasting, which is a mechanism in our body that is already there. So we are creatures of fasting. Anyone can fast. I don't care how hypoglycemic you think you get. We all can fast. We just have to work up to it slowly, okay? But we're all capable of doing it. And so it puts you in ketosis but by a different mechanism than Atkins. It does it through a mechanism in your brain that says there's no food, coming for 12 hours. Starts at 12 hours. I'm going to start shifting into burning some fat to save the stores of glycogen. So it is just a different mechanism, whereas with low carb, you're actually depleting all the glycogen and then you're going to fat after that. So ketosis still just different mechanism, okay? Now, the way you do it is you basically, this is how I do it. I ease people into it. So I say, all right, can you get up at 8, eat at 8, and stop eating at 8? That's 12 hours. And most people can do that. So we start there. And then what we do is we take that 12-hour window and then we move it up a little bit. So now, can you eat at 9 instead of 8? Can you end at 7 instead of 8? So eventually you get to a point where you have an 8-hour window where the body is in ketosis, it's used to ketosis, you don't get hungry, and it works for your schedule. And you can shift it, as I mentioned. Key with intermittent fasting is this. You have to start it at a certain time, you have to end it at a certain time, but you have to eat every 2 hours in between. And make sure you have something with protein in it, okay? If you don't, then you're not going to lose weight and you're going to be miserable, okay? Another thing is don't add too much fasting to it. So I have some people who, you eventually figure out, oh, I can do a 24-hour fast and I'll lose a little bit more. And 1 day a week of a 24-hour, which really just means eating dinner late, 1 day a week of a 24-hour fast can be great for you. But if you're doing that 24-hour fast a couple days a week, it's not going to be good. Okay, because now you're going to start, going into, your metabolism's going to start to decrease and you're not going to have the weight loss you like. Okay, so it's mostly about timing. I love that about it from a benefit standpoint. No calorie counting, great way to take advantage of people who are meal skippers, as I mentioned. Ketosis feels great. Apoptosis, cancer prevention, programmed cell death, awesome for people who are worried about cancer because of a family history, or who are people who have had it and want to stay in remission, and who doesn't want that. And it's just great for all those things. I would say the thing to be cautious about, I already mentioned, don't overdo the fasting time. It will backfire and you'll be mad because you're not eating and you're not losing weight and you're losing muscle. Okay, make sure you eat every 2 hours, and alcohol counts. I will put that in there too. That's so important that you include alcohol with your food. During the fasting time, it's only 0-calorie beverages, black coffee, black tea, iced tea, water, obviously. Even a diet drink can work, but you don't want to be putting anything in during that time other than that and water, okay? So let's see here. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Kimberly. What foods are best to eat within that 8-hour window? So protein, protein, protein. So every element in the 2 hours that you eat should have some protein in it. So here's my typical day. You know, I do like a 12 to 8 or a 1 to 9 if I work late. And so I always start out with like a shake because this just makes me happy. Sometimes a bar, but mostly a shake. I'll make one of the high protein ones we have. And I'll put a little powdered peanut butter in it. I like the chocolate with powdered peanut butter because it's so yummy. And then 2 hours later, you want to do another protein entity. I'll usually do a bar. 2 hours after that, now I want something salty because I've had sweet. So what I'll do is we have high protein pretzels. We have some, different kind of chips. Quest chips, if you're not with us at our office, are a good option because they're salty and they taste good and they're high protein. Sometimes we'll do a couple cheese sticks. That'll work, or a cheese stick with a piece of fruit. And then at dinner time, it's just, lean and green, salad, protein, veggies. Be done by, I'm done by 8 or 9. I really have to, I'll let you in on a little secret. I do have to watch because I like, especially if I'm had a hard day at the office, I want to have a glass of wine. Sometimes I don't get home till 8:30 and, I'm trying to shove all my food in a half hour and I've got this wonderful glass of wine that I don't want to rush. So I have to I'm still working that piece out. But remember the alcohol does count. Prepping your food is so important. Energetic Madre says. Also, egg whites. Oh, yes, I forgot. That's a great one. Egg whites or eggs scrambled with like a little sriracha. You can put some, a lot of people will put maybe a little bit of spinach in there. And, perhaps just a tiny bit of cheese of some kind. Some people will do parm because you don't need much to get that flavor. And that is a great protein snack, and it's not very many calories. High protein, fills you up. It's awesome. All right. So that is intermittent fasting. There is a great book by Jason Fung called The Complete Book of Fasting, I believe it's called. The Complete Art of Fasting, something like that. Jason Fung, Complete Guide to Fasting. And he has now a new one out too, but go for the old one. It will tell you all of the different types of fasting you can do, and it tells you why you should do them, and it gives a lot of people's personal experience with that too. Okay? All right. So that is that. And then the last one I'm going to just mention, which this is what I do. You can see. I do intermittent fasting, but I also do a partial with it, especially when I'm at work. And what I like about meal replacements, where you do a partial, or some of my patients who are have more than 40 pounds to lose will do a full, but that really needs to be supervised by a doctor. But it's for a partial, you don't need to. You can do 4 meal replacements a day and then a healthy dinner, lean and green at night. So the benefits of meal replacements, and if you have any question about what a meal replacement is, we have a really good article back a couple months ago that we put together on it, and it goes into the ingredients and over-the-counter stuff and why you should avoid certain companies and certain things. But meal replacements are basically a shake, a bar, or a soup usually, that are put in place of a meal that are nutritionally complete, okay? They're not just, candy bars, or not like things that, look like a shake, but are really just hot chocolate or whatever. These are the real deal. And they're a healthy source of protein and a high quality source of whey protein. Okay, so meal replacements, you usually do like something that is very common, shake bar with a healthy dinner. And it's all about calories and protein. So when you're going to do something like this, you want to get half your weight in protein, okay? That helps with loss and keeps you full and preserves your muscle. And you want to have, 6 ounces or 4 to 6 ounces of your protein for women, 8 even to 12 for men, and lean and green, okay? And I love this because it's all about stimuli narrowing. Once your brain sees the same thing coming in day after day, it doesn't really look for other things. It takes such good care of cravings because it's going to get the sweet, which most of us crave. If you want a salty, the soups are kind of on the saltier side, and you can put every once in a while like protein chips and stuff in for a meal replacement, especially if you're doing a partial because you're going to get the rest of your nutrition at dinner time. So I love that. So only one decision to make. One meal. You can make your meal breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but only one meal. The rest is the 4 products, okay? And calorie-wise, I tell women 1,200, men about 1,500, and half your weight in protein. Easy peasy to do. Okay, and our website, just in case you don't know, we have a product line called New Directions, which is fantastic. This is what I do every day. And then we also have certain supplements that go with that as well. And if you just pop on our website, you're going to learn a lot about that. Okay, what else do I want to say about this? I like it because just about anyone can do it. It's a plan that works well with, a little more freedom, so you can have that one meal a day. And stimuli narrowing, your brain seeing the same thing every day it really does work for everybody. So my caution would be really careful of the stuff over the counter. A lot of it is junk, some of it is dangerous, and much of it is not even a meal replacement. So, buyer beware. Again, check out the article we wrote on this for more information on what to watch out for. And watch for meal skipping. You've got to get all the products in, or you're going to lose muscle by not supporting your muscle needs with protein. So get them all in. And then the only problem I really have with the partial is food restrictions for people who have, like, say, a gluten allergy, which most of the products accommodate. But, especially if you're lactose intolerant, the whey protein might not, work for you. Most people can find something that works within the products that we have, but you have to watch out for that. Okay, so we got the food, right? We prepped our house, we got the food, we decided on our plan, we have our goal written down, and now we are going to talk about exercise. Okay, so in the weight loss phase, exercise to a large degree, in other words, you want to always be moving, but getting, really solid exercise plan where you're going to the gym every day and lifting weights and stuff is not as important as you think, okay? You want to meet your muscle needs with weight loss through the protein that you eat, and all of the weight loss, 99.9% of it, occurs in the kitchen and not at the gym. However, a body in motion stays in motion, and by the time you get to your goal, you're going to need to be exercising to maintain it, okay? So what I tell people with exercise is titrate your exercise to your hunger, okay? So do what you're going to do what you're already doing, don't increase it, okay? Stay with what you're doing, and make sure you can follow the plan that is set before you. If you can't meet those 1,200 calories because you're getting too hungry because you're exercising too much, you got to cut it back. Otherwise, you're going to be super frustrated because you're going to be thinking you're doing all these great things, and you're just going to be hungry and you're going to overeat the benefits, okay? Now, as you go along, you're going to want to increase it more. And in maintenance, you've got to exercise. Hopefully, you'll be so excited about it because you feel good. But the recommendation is an hour and a half a day every day. Okay, during weight loss, 30 minutes a day is fine. And it should be a combination of cardio. So what they say is five days a week of about a half hour of cardio, which can include walking. Okay, and then 2 days a week of resistance training. All right. Let me just check and make sure I didn't miss anything over here. Any questions about exercise? I know that is something that, there's a lot of misinformation out, and everybody wants to go do a big weight loss challenge. But I love the Couch to 5Ks. I love doing step challenges with your friends, and, start out with whatever you're doing, try to double it stepwise, and then try to reach 5,000 steps and eventually 10,000. The key is to keep your body in motion. It's the right thing to do. It's healthy for you. Many, many benefits. But don't overdo it. Okay. Are you guys still with me? Let me know if you have any thoughts about what I just said about exercise, and pop any question. Muscle burns more than fat. Build that muscle. Muscle is what increases your metabolism and maintains your metabolism. So protein is the key. Okay, you've got to keep your protein up. Some of these injectables that are out there, we'll talk about them at the end. It really, really, really is not good what's happening, because a lot of these people aren't eating and they're not supporting their protein, and they look like death, by the time they get to their goals. So protein, and that's going to support your muscle. Exercise is so good for you, but just don't overdo it. That's my point. Last thing to consider, and then we'll go to question and answer time, is behavioral things that you may not be paying attention to that can throw you off, okay? So, first of all, sleep. So we're not going to get too deep into it, but it's so important. That's cute, Joyce. It's so important to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep, okay? When you don't sleep, your ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone, kicks up like crazy, and you're going to be much more hungry the next day. You're also going to carb crave because you're going to be tired, and your brain's going to say, I need something, and it's not going to say, go get me broccoli. It's going to really kind of push you to go get sugar, okay? Or carbs or something like that. So sleep 6 to 8 hours a day. Work on sleep hygiene, okay? Watch the blue light of cell phones and computers and TV. You need that all out of your system about an hour before you go to bed, okay? Close it down. Get a book. Focus on meditation or something like that, prayer, whatever motivates you to kind of slow down, but get yourself prepared for night, okay? Make your bedroom a sleep castle. We've talked about some of these things, and we'll talk about them again. And then finally, if you need a little help, just magnesium works great. Magnesium glycinate, 100 milligrams before bed. You can take, 1 to 2, start with 1, because magnesium also moves your bowels, so you don't want to have another problem at night if you take too much. And melatonin, no more than 5 milligrams, can also be very healthy. All right, helpful, not healthy. I'm just reading something over here. So my muscle mass is at 90 pounds on my Tenita scale. Awesome. Fat is at 17. That's so good. That's so good. Okay, now the other thing to consider is water. So really quick, I'm going to keep it simple. 64 to 82 ounces of water is what, I recommend for most of you. If you are restricted because you have some type of, endocrine issue, then you got to go lower. If you are a big exerciser or weigh more, you can go higher, but I don't recommend anybody go above 120 ounces because it starts to affect your sodium. Your sodium can drop. You can get really sick. I've seen people try to drink their weight in water drink their weight in water. 400-pound people cannot drink 400 ounces of water without getting really sick. So that is a very bad recommendation, whoever put that out there. Okay, and then finally, journaling, always good. I know it can really be a pain, but 50% more weight loss with people who journal. So here's what I recommend. Go get an awesome book or something to make it fun. You can get stickers that have things on them that say good job, great day. There's stickers that actually have food on it, so you can put stickers on. I use this with my kids instead of actually writing down what you eat. Make it fun, make it something that isn't so much of a chore. And I really recommend that you also journal your water, journal your alcohol always. But also, how did you sleep that day? How are you feeling that day? How do you feel about yourself? Use a scale of 1 to 10 so that you can kind of start to detect patterns if you're starting to slip in some way. Okay? So that's the sleep thing, that's the journal thing, and then, as Energetic Madre said at the beginning, you got to get rid of the bad habits, and you have to do them and come up with a permanent solution. Sugar's one of them. All that sugary crap that's out there, there's so much, it's pervasive in the food we eat. You really want to either get rid of it altogether or come up with a good substitution that's not bad for you. My one I use always is dark chocolate versus milk chocolate. It actually has good properties for you, and because it's a little on the bitter side, you don't tend to eat as much. It doesn't have that fat, salt, sugar thing. But come up with a good alternative if you feel like I have to have a little chocolate before my meal's complete or something like that. I might have said that once or twice or 1,000 times, but dark chocolate can work. And then fast food, get rid of it. Alcohol, got to stop or minimize it. Okay? Kathy, welcome to the fun. Woohoo! All right, we're almost done, but it's all right. You can rewatch it. Ooh. Okay, any splurge day can put you up by 2 to 3 pounds. Yes, the sugar and sodium can get you into a splurge, and it's hard to stop. So I'm not a candidate of, free days, because free days lead to increased inflammation, lethargy, they lead to self-loathing because you're mad at yourself for doing it, and a whole week you lose usually because of a free day. So not a fan of that. And the scale does go up after you splurge or after you open the door to these things, and so a lot of it is inflammation. You feel crappy. It takes a couple days to get rid of it. All right. Any questions? Let's go. I did get some questions. I think I got through everything I wanted to get through. How'd I do? Hopefully I covered you, at least a starting point for you guys. And we are going to go into more detail in future Facebook Lives about all these things. But this is just getting you excited, you know, kicking you in the butt, getting you going. Okay? Now, I got a couple questions. So I'll rip these out, and if you want to put any in the chat, do it, and I'll answer them, even if you are joining us later. Okay? Okay. So, Sherry, I know I put you off. Oh, what med do you think is best in maintenance? Okay. Kimberly, let me get to Sherry's and then I'll answer yours. So Sherry wrote to me a couple days ago, and I'm like, oh, you got to watch the Facebook Live to get your answer. But she said, what are your thoughts on intermittent or extended fasting? I used to like to delay breakfast until late morning and then try to be done by 6. Occasionally, I would throw in a 48-hour fast. Since coming to your clinic, I haven't been doing that and have experienced good weight loss. Would being on Ozempic or another similar drug make a difference? And your recommendations for or against intermittent fasting? Wow, that is a loaded question. Okay, so let's start out with what do I think about intermittent fasting or extended fasting? I love intermittent fasting. I love the 16-8. I do it. I feel great on it. I'm always happier when I'm back on it. If I have a bad day, I can't wait to get back on it. So it's one of my favorites for all the reasons I mentioned. What do I think about adding an extra day in there or a 48-hour day? I like doing one 24-hour day a week. There's great data that shows that can just really kind of kick certain mechanisms in that are healthy for you in cellular repair, mitochondrial repair, that kind of thing. However, don't overdo it, okay? I don't really like people to do much more than a 24-hour day a week unless there's something specific they want to do it for. So if you're someone who prays and fasts for, religious reasons or, for a spiritual reason, do it. Just, just when you get that 3 or 4 or 5 days off, Ramadan is this whole little, oh my gosh, Ramadan is so hard. I feel so sorry for people who go through this, although I understand why, and I know that fasting is so helpful spiritually, but it's just hard because there's no eating and then there's like giant eating, and that's tough on your body, and plus you can't drink on it, so that makes it tough. But either way, extended fast you have to be real careful about. I think when you're starting to learn how to do intermittent fasting, you shouldn't do more than one 24-hour day a week if you decide to put it in there. But just get used to the 16-8. Get some regular weight loss going before you get fancy with it. And then you said something about the Ozempic. Would it make a difference with my recommendations for or against? No. I love these drugs in addition to a good nutrition plan. I will say this. I cannot stand that these drugs are being prescribed or fake prescribed by bots claiming to be doctors online, and they are not being accompanied by a good nutrition plan, because I'm seeing very, very scary things as a doctor who, does a multidisciplinary approach. I think a lot of doctors who are using these drugs may be missing the fact that their patients are malnourished if they're not eating, and they don't tend to ask. These drugs are so strong that they can get you to not eat at all. And some people think, oh, the scale's moving, that's great, and I'm not even hungry. But it's not great, because that's the same thing as just starving to death, and it's just happening in a different way. So you don't want to be doing that. You want to attach food to it, obviously, and, movement, and watching your behaviors, and getting good sleep, all those things. Okay, so Kimberly says, which med do you think is best in the maintenance phase if I were to stop the injectables? Oh, that's a good question, because many of you, if you're following this whole injection craze, the injectables are good drugs. But why don't we get into them? So the injectables are weekly medications that you take. They're in a pen. You don't have to do anything but hit the button of the pen. They're once a week. The two ones that are out right now, the two are 4, and here's why. You have semaglutide, which is a GLP-1 receptor agonist. GLP-1's in the brain, makes you not hungry. It's in the gut, makes you not hungry. But it also slows down the gastric emptying, so it slows down how fast the food goes through your stomach and in your intestines, which can cause, pooping problems. So you have to be really careful of that, and you also have to eat really slow, because you can get nauseous if you eat too fast in these things, because the food's not going down, right? So I love these drugs. We've been using them in our field since 2005. They came out initially for diabetes. Oh wait, let me back up. So semaglutide's GLP-1, and that is under, it's out there, the trade name Ozempic, and Wegovy. Ozempic, ridiculously, is even though it's the same medicine, is used for diabetes, and Wegovy, with slightly different dosing, is only approved for weight loss. And this is a nightmare, and it's all about the drug companies maintaining diabetes and weight loss in their in their fields, in their areas, because many of us know you lose weight, you don't have diabetes. You lose weight, you don't have hypertension. You lose weight, you don't have high cholesterol. Okay, all these things. But Big Pharma wants you to be sick so they can make money. So they take these drugs and they put parallel paths, and it's a nightmare with coverage. It's a nightmare with supply for those drugs too. So I take my time putting people on them for that very reason. The other one is tirzepatide. It is listed for diabetes as Mounjaro trade name, and recently Zepbound for weight loss. Same drug. It hits the GLP-1 receptors and the GIP receptors, which we don't know a lot about. It's kind of a mystery receptor that just kind of made its way onto the stage. It makes me a little, here's what I've experienced with Mounjaro, which I haven't with Ozempic. Those are the two that were names that most people recognize. Mounjaro, this GIP receptor helps addictions, which is great. So all of a sudden people aren't gambling. They're not, staying away from porn. They're not drinking, they're not smoking. Like, that's wonderful. But it also increases serotonin, which makes, it's almost like heroin. Every blade of grass stand up straight, some people will say. They're so happy. Everything's working the way it should. Life is just wonderful until they don't have it. Okay, so there has been this on again, off again supply chain issue with certain doses. Sometimes the whole drug altogether. We have Wegovy, but we don't have Mounjaro. People are flipping on and off these drugs, trying to get on both of them, and it's not their fault. It's a ploy. Okay, why are we having this sudden loss of the availability of these drugs? And the reason is, they want to be able to set up a system that goes directly from the pharmaceutical company to patients without any intervention, either pharmacy or physicians. So this is what we're getting set up for. So I really try to put those drugs as a last resort because of all that. Okay, because Mounjaro in particular, if you can't get your dose, your depression, you become depressed even if you didn't have it before. Okay, I see depression rising. I see people's addictions coming back but worse. I see the weight gain coming back so much faster and the weight going higher than when they started. So it's a double-edged sword for these drugs, even though they do work great. So to answer your question, Kimberly, hopefully that was helpful. I try really hard to get all my injectable patients, just because of what I described, onto phentermine and drugs that are sympathomimetics if I can, because they're cheap, they're available, and they have 70 years worth of data now. Supporting their safety and efficacy, and I don't have to worry about supply. So that's what I usually do for maintenance. Okay, so what about, what about flavors during fasting, like flavored seltzer? No problem. That's absolutely fine as long as it's 0 calories for Sherry. 0 calorie. You got it, Sherry. Okay, hopefully I answered that. Yeah, I like the injectables, but I don't like the shenanigans that are going on, and it's making me a little crazy watching people get manipulated by these drugs and watching their moods go like this. And, I've had some people fall into very severe depressions afterwards, and it just makes me a little nervous. I bet I'm running late. Let me keep going here. I'm almost done. Oh my God, it's almost 7 o'clock. Okay. Okay, we're almost done, you guys. I get talking and I lose track of time. Hopefully this is valuable. All right, so I think I got that. We're good with all the questions over there. Jeff asked, I don't know where to start. How do I pull myself back in? I'm just so off track. I think that the way to start is just the way that we talked about at the beginning. Make it the goal, set a date, clean up the house, choose a plan, okay? And execute that plan. And don't look back and don't beat yourself up. You got to have positive language. It's really, really easy to get down on ourselves, but life is hard. The weather's crappy, especially around here. That's not motivating. There's so many things going on in the world that aren't pleasant. School systems are crazy. If you've got kids in schools, it's hard. So be kind to yourself. I have the best hair. Well, thank you, Mary. It's real. You're welcome, Kimberly. Okay. I'm almost done. Couple more. Lisa said, I didn't have problems with my weight before, but gaining weight closer to menopause. And why is this? I guess is what the question is. It just says, ends with menopause. So yes, as we go through, as women, and even men, men start to have lower testosterone as they get older, but particularly if they have obesity because they make more estrogen and lower testosterone. Testosterone feeds muscle, which feeds metabolism. Same thing for women. Our ovaries make testosterone, which does the same thing for us. It also takes care of brain health, focus, libido, muscle mass, strength, joints, all those kind of things. It's a super important hormone. So as we start to get older and the testosterone drops, our metabolism drops. So if we keep our calories the same as the metabolism drops, our weight's going to go up, right? So we need to learn to either replace them bioidentically. That's why we do bioidentical hormones at our office, which we can talk about a different time. Or we need to come up with a way to adjust our calories so that we're not gaining anymore. So that's why. Okay. All right. 2 more questions. I don't think I can ever stop sugar, says Robin. I'm an addict. What should I do? Okay. Well, we have a whole, I think our next Facebook Live might have something to do with binging. We're going to do a lot of stuff on binge eating because there's a lot of that going on right now. But the big thing is either eliminate it and grin and bear it for, a week, and then you'll get over the hump and you won't miss it. Or come up with a good substitution. There are many, many, many out there. If you guys need a substitution, give me your addiction and I will give you one. We need something that's not going to hit the dopamine receptor so hard. There's many medications that work for this. Chromium over the counter is a great way to start. Honestly, GLP-1 is made by eating a lot of fiber and drinking water. That actually hits the GLP-1 receptor, so you can work on increasing your fiber and drinking more water so you're not as hungry, which helps the binging. And then there's other medications like Vyvanse and Topamax, which we use at our office if we need to, which work great. Okay? Eric said, what do you think about dry January? Should I keep it going during February? I don't understand dry January, to be honest with you. I mean, it almost encourages people to drink more during the holidays leading up to January, and I see actually the opposite effect happen, and I see people then struggling more with calories in January. So now they're focusing on their alcohol, which may or may not have been a problem for them, but now they're not focusing on food. They're just focusing on not drinking, and that is great if that's the source of all your calories. Yeah, you stop that and you're going to lose weight. But if it's not, it's taking the focus off of what we really should be focusing on, which is just general overall health and eating healthy. So not a big fan, to be honest with you. I think you should always be careful with your alcohol and mitigate it to the degree that you can. And if you do have problems with it, you're going to have to stop it because it is an addiction with alcohol is or anything, truthfully, any kind of heroin, drugs, it's all the same. It's really, really hard to have, one is too much and 1,000 isn't enough, I think is the saying in AA. It's a tough one. Okay, we already talked about the injectables. So, we're done. All right. What is going on with what I'm wearing? That's funny. Okay, so yes, I'm glad you like my shirt and my red lipstick. Thank you. Me and Taylor Swift, man, we're rocking the red lipstick. All right, that's it, you guys. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful night, and thank you for joining me. And any questions you have, pop it in here, pop it in, Instagram anytime, DM me, and I'll look forward to our next time getting together. Okay? Have a great night.